Off the cuff, everything we say brought to you live. Roman, Will, and Zay off the cuff. Walking by faith, brought to you live. Roman, Will, and Zay off the cuff.
Yeah, I see y'all.
Everything we say brought to you live. Roman, Will, and Zay off the cuff.
And the truth of the
We
matter
walking
is,
by faith, brought to you live. Roman, Will, and Zay off the cuff.
Isaiah trying to have us on here all night.
We can't glaze over that though. We can. Oh my goodness.
Yo, what's going on, world? How y'all doing? What's the deal, man? Listen, we are in the place, man. I'm excited, man. Listen, man, it's your boy Isaiah, also known as Zaya.
Will Parker Jr. is in the house.
Hey, and your boy Pastor Roman D bringing up the rear, and your fellas together are
Off the cuff. Yes, we is. We in here, man.
Cuff.
Cuff. Hey, you know what
all
I'm saying?
right, y'all last week was on Don.
Hey, we gonna start our own channel, man. You know what I'm saying? Off the cuff. Hey, praise God, man. Listen, man, I'm feeling good, man. I'm from the hood, smelling good. Hey, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hey, you know what
Oh,
I
you
mean?
should. I wish you would.
Oh, man. How y'all doing, fellas? How y'all doing,
I'm
man?
good, man. How y'all doing this week, fellas?
Oh,
Man.
doing excellent, man. Doing excellent. Grinding, and loving it, baby.
Yes,
Pastor
man.
Roman D just finished up that anniversary.
Hey.
Yeah, boy. Yeah, it was
Congrats
great.
again, my brother.
Yes.
Congrats
Thanks, my
again.
brother.
Man.
That boy had Bishop Hilliard drop the word on him. Dude,
Yeah.
Boy. How was
Godfather of faith right now.
Hey, you know what I'm saying? So how was that, Pastor Roman D, being around Pastor Hilliard? And God said, how was that being around him, bro? And you know he preached real. You know what I'm
It
saying?
was crazy. Hey, he's just a cool dude. He's laid back, boy. They showed us so much. Oh my goodness, it took our faith to a whole nother level to
Man.
see what God can do when you have faith, when you have trust in God. No matter what your skin color, no matter where you come from, if you walk in faith, God can do some awesome things.
Ah, man, I totally agree with that, boy, man. Faith is so necessary. It's so crucial, man. You know, it's crazy, man. When we get into this show, man, I wanted to share something right quick first, man. I was thinking about this, man. Actually, I was talking to my wife about this earlier. How I'm seeing that business is different than ministry. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, it is.
these are two different things. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, I started to think like, yeah, you know, sometimes I try to implement ministry in business and that don't work. You know what I'm saying? It's like, but you know, that's a good segue for what we're going to be talking about today, man. For those that are tuning in, man, we're going to be talking about industry versus ministry. And this is something that's like, it was really, really good when I heard it, because I even thought about, I was just talking to my wife about this just earlier. Some guy, man, I don't even want to put it out there like that, but I like to be open and transparent, man. It was some open dialogue. He told me about a shirt that I had sent to him. Now, the shirt that I sent to him, of course, was a Just Jesus product. Listen, now, those that's listening, listen, please, man, give me some grace, okay? Give your boy some grace, all right? Now, I sent this shirt off, man, but he told me, he said, man, listen, I looked on the website, and the shirt you sent wasn't fit and cut like the one that was on the website. And I was like, you know what? You're absolutely right. And, you know, when I was reading this text message, at first, I was on a little cringe. Because, you know, anytime somebody, any type of constructive criticism, especially when you get it from the wrong person, right? It kind of like, yo, man, like, why you hitting me that hard like that? But when you get it from the right person, it helps to strategically put you into this mode where you can be successful and accomplish anything that you're setting your heart to do. So he's like, man, this wasn't right, this wasn't right, this wasn't right, this wasn't right, but I'm looking forward to working with you in the future. I was like, whoa, like, that's big, you know? And so I began to think about how that, you know, what we're going to be talking about, you know, of course, industry versus ministry. These two are pretty much, I think, kind of similar, because a business is not ran like your ministry, right? And your ministry should never be ran like your business. And that's what I personally think. But I think that, you know what I'm saying, this is going to be a great topic. And I know we're going to get into some dope stuff, man. So, Brother Will, what you got for us, bro?
Hey, man, you already kicked it off. We
Hey,
just
for
gonna
real?
roll with you.
Hey, that's what's
Get
up,
it,
bro.
get it, Stephanie.
You can't. Hey, bro, give yourself some. Yeah, bro. No, you already kicked the show off, bro. Again, I think you hitting on something, man. When we talk about ministry versus business, I know today we're talking about industry versus ministry, but no, Isaiah Beats, I want to kind of keep flowing with that, and when we come back around, I'll bring up the post.
Okay.
But no, bro, I think you're onto something, and I think for the most part, unfortunately, a lot of church folks get turned off by ministry because they don't understand the business of ministry. So you can be discouraged.
Oh my God,
and get
man.
turned off when you come to the church, especially during the week or on certain decisions when it's ran more like a business because it's a business decision and not a ministry decision.
That's good.
And if you don't know that there is a difference, you can easily point your nose up and say, I don't want to come back to this particular ministry anymore.
That's big.
Yeah.
Because you don't understand there is a business side to ministry. Now, we know ministry for the most part means to serve, is service.
Yeah.
We know at the end of the day, ministry is serving the people of God.
That's good, bro.
But at the same time, there's a business side that we got to talk to the light company. We got to talk to the mortgage company if you don't own your building.
Well,
We got to fill up the vans with
Well.
gas. We got to pay insurance. And we got to keep the lights on. There's a business side to ministry.
come on, bro. Yeah.
You can get in your building and pray till you blue in the face.
Man.
But if it ain't no dollars coming in, those
Man.
lights will get shut off.
Hey.
You know what I'm saying? So no, bro, I think you're hitting on something. I think you have to understand the dynamics. And I'm gonna let Pastor Roman D talk about this a little bit more because I helped him start his church. And we dealt with the business side. We didn't even get to the ministry side.
Yeah.
Ministry side is just now up and operating. We had to deal with all the business side first.
That's good.
So
bro.
Pastor Roman D, talk to us.
Because here's the thing people miss that, especially I know people say, you can be a pastor, you can wake up one morning and decide to be a pastor. Well, you can, but to do it legally, it takes some time.
Come on,
You
bro.
got to go through the state, you got to go through the Fed, you got to go through all this, and you got to get your name registered. You got to do all these different things before you can even think about starting, at least if you want to do it legally. When people give to your church, if you want to be able to where they can use it as a tax write-off, you have to do things that are on the business side. And I'll even say this, the funny thing about church is people don't want it to be a business until it's about their business. What I mean by that?
Wow.
People get mad about, the pastor talking about giving, the pastor talking about tithing and offerings and things of that nature. But then when they need their rent paid, when they got a health bill that they need the church to help them with, then they want the church to be there for them. And so the crazy thing about business and ministry is two different things, but they overlap.
Come on, bro. Come on, bro.
It's like that gray area. There's a gray area where they come together and they meet, but you have to learn when you're doing one or the other, because some people blend them together and they try to make ministry business and business ministry, and then they don't handle things the proper way. They leave people in place because they're thinking ministry minded when they need to think business minded, and these people are costing money on this level. And so you're allowing this one person to cost you money, and you're overlooking the impact that it's having on the whole organization. And so this is going to be a great topic as we dive into this, as we talk about it, because it's something that needs to be talked about in the church, not only for the church to know, but even for the world to know.
Yeah, man. I agree with that. When you was talking, Pastor Roman D, I thought about this. God says this. He says that, you know, bring 10%. Like you was talking about the offerings. He's like, bring 10% to the house so that there's meat. You know, so bring 10% of what you have to the house so that there's meat into the house. Now, listen, world, don't throw stones at me, but that's business. Because when you think about, you know what I'm saying, God, you know, establishing the church, right? You know, we need a place to come. You know what I'm saying, to worship. Now we could worship at the house, but we fellowship in the house. So when we're bringing our 10%, that's in a fashion. God is teaching us business. He's teaching us business principles that you can benefit from. And I think that, you know, you said, you hit it, Pastor Roman D. When we start talking about, and this is the thing. When he told me about my T-shirt, it kind of rubbed me in the wrong way until I got to the end of the letter, right? See, the thing is that, and let me get big screen on this. So the thing is,
big,
hey, you know what I'm saying? I got to get the big screen. But this is the thing, like, you know, when it's about your business, you move differently. And I want to say that I think this is so important. I think when you start to see that it's affecting you, you move completely differently. Then the complaints come, but you know what? You look at the person differently that's actually running their business in a different way. Now, this is what we're talking about. Of course, we're talking about, you know, industry versus ministry. I think the industry only cares about a certain thing. They care about your look. They care about, you know what I'm saying, how you sound. If we're talking about an artist, they care about, you know what I'm saying, where you go, who you talk to. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And that is, like you said it, Pastor Roman D, when you're walking in ministry, you know, you have to make sure that you're keeping that fine line in between the two. You can't get them both construed. You know, you have to know how to be able to do that. And I think that, of course, when we're looking at the differences here, the industry standards, you know what I'm saying? Of course, it has nothing to do with, you know, faith principles. I'll say that it has nothing to do with your personal, your personal beliefs. And this is where you can get it twisted. Because I was this way for many years. I felt as if I put my faith on my business, right? Or, you know, do it business, faith minded with my business. It didn't work that way. You got to work it business wise. You really have to be business. People, like, for example, my T-shirt that I sold to him, he wanted to pay for, even though it said just Jesus. Okay. Even though it said just Jesus, he wanted the quality in that brand. You know, he was like, because I'm paying for this. He was like, your shirt is this much. I'm paying for this. So that was the business side. He said, I'm going to rock it because it's just Jesus. But the business side, the industry side, is a lot bigger, you know what I'm saying, than ministry. So, as we dive into this, man, it's going to be so dope. It's going to be so big. I'm seeing so many things that's going to be, you know, I'm feeling this thing. I'm feeling this thing, and I'm thanking this feeling. I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but I'm telling you, this is going to be a good conversation, man. Will, man, take us there, man. Take us there, bro.
All right, so
What's up, bro?
let me say this before I move forward, though.
Yo.
You can use faith for anything.
Oh, yeah, you can use faith. Yeah, most definitely.
But again, faith without works is dead.
Yeah, you're right, bro.
So even if you put your faith on your business, you got to make sure you're doing the corresponding actions. and that's what people fail at.
Yeah.
Faith ain't working just because you say, I believe I'm going to sell 100 shirts.
Come on, bro. You know what I'm saying?
So no, wow. I'm with you, bro. But yeah, we'll talk more about that.
Yeah.
But let's get into this. So,
all right, bro.
Shout out to my sister, Lady E, the other co-founder of Alive Church, my boy, beautiful wife. She sent this post. She sent this, I don't know if it was on IG, a tweet or whatever, but of Dietrich Haddon. And he said something, and we're going to talk about it.
Let's get into it.
And I think it blends right in with the Donda we was talking about last week.
Yeah.
I think it goes right into that. And we'll even talk a little bit about Kanye a little bit more. But let's read it real quick.
Yeah.
Here's what it says. It says, Dietrich Haddon said, there is a huge difference between the gospel ministry and the gospel industry. The industry equals business. Getting in advance, you got to pay it back. Charts, he means how you chart. Money, positioning, power, popularity, and fame. Okay?
Wow.
He said ministry equals spreading the good news, or the gospel. Everybody know the gospel means good news. Good news of who? Jesus Christ.
Come on, bro.
It's taking up your cross, denying yourself, winning souls. It's not about you. That's what he's saying. The question is, can you do both? Are you called to do both? And I think that's the key right there. Shout out to Dietrich Haddon for that, because that's big.
Yeah.
Are you called to do both?
That's good, bro.
Because if you're not called to do both, you ain't gonna be able to do both. You know what I'm saying? So I think he gave us the definitions that we need to move on.
Yeah.
But I think he defined industry well.
Yeah.
The industry cares about the mighty dollar, the bottom line. Are you going to sell records?
Man.
Can you sell records? That at the end of the day, is it your look? Is it your sound? Who do you need to collab with?
Yeah.
And this is why we see so many gospel artists collabing with secular artists. Okay, sometimes it's because they signed that contract and they have to. Man, I was talking to one of our guys here, National Recording Artists, and he was telling me how there's so many gospel artists that are not in it for ministry. They're in it to make money.
Dang, boy.
They're in it for industry. They're not in it to make, it's not about ministry. It's about industry. And he said, you would be surprised the percentage of people that's in it for industry and not ministry. It's really, he said, it's a really small percentage of people that's in it for the ministry's sake. Is more people in for the industry's sake.
Man.
He said, how do you know? He said, all you got to do is give them that bag.
Man,
Offer
boy.
them a right amount of cash. He said they're going industry and they'll sell out. They'll completely give up their morals and values for what they believe in and who they trust.
Dang.
And I think Ty Tribbett did a good job. If y'all haven't heard Ty Tribbett a couple years ago,
I heard that.
He did a rant, or maybe last year.
Yeah, in the
he
black
did a
and white.
rant.
In the black and white.
Yeah, he was in black
video.
and white. He ran it because he went to a room before he dropped that song, his last song.
Yep.
And they tried to get him to sell out. He said, I'm not selling out.
I heard that one.
It's about ministry, not about industry for him. And I think he gave us a lot of gems in that.
That's big.
And he made it for us regular people to know this is real.
Yeah.
Ministry versus industry is real. The question is,
Can you do
who
both?
are you?
Man.
Yeah, and
Wow.
hey, and it goes to what is your priority, because there was some people who got into it with the right intentions.
Yep.
But we talked about last week down there and Kanye having access when you start to grow and you can get things that you used to couldn't get, or you got access to people you used to didn't have access to. That could be a very, very dangerous place, because if your motives aren't right, if your heart isn't right, here I think is the key. I think this is the key. The higher you go up, the closer you got to be to God.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Because here's the thing. Moses, if we look at the life of Moses, God told us, hey, I'm going to send y'all because they're stiff-necked people. He said, I'm not going to go. And Moses said, oh no, if you don't go, I'm not going. I'm not going without your presence. And there's some people who become so talented, they're so gifted that they think, hey, I can do this on my own. And they put themselves out, and they notice that their motives change, their focus change. They become like Peter walking on the water. They're doing the impossible, but then they start looking at other stuff. They start looking at the distractions. And so I think the higher you go, the more you got to tug on Jesus, the more you got to tug, because it's easy to get distracted. Let's just be honest.
Yep.
Even in everyone else's life, in everybody's life, there's some things that can come in your life that can get you off focus.
Yeah, you're right,
That
bro.
can get you distracted, and let alone they throw hundreds of thousands of dollars at you. $100 to go do a record with such and such and do such and such, and then all of a sudden you see yourselves chasing the bag rather than chasing the one who anointed you to get the bag.
Man.
And so, I think this is going to be an awesome conversation, fellas.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? 2 scriptures come to mind. That question that you asked, Will, was big. You talked about, can you do both? Can you minister? Can you be in the industry? I think I want to bring these 2 scriptures to our conversation. The first one, what Paul was talking about, and this is I don't know where this is found in the gospel, but he talks about how there were certain people that were preaching, in Jesus' name, but he said that they were doing it with improper morals. So one would be preaching out of strife, one would be preaching out of anger, one would be preaching for riches, but he said, nevertheless, Christ is being preached. But then there's another scripture, Will, and I was thinking about this as you was talking. I started to meditate on this. This is so big. When Jesus was like, the laborers are few, that the harvest
is many. Or is plentiful.
Laborers are few.
Now, when I think about that, I think about how many more people are in it to get the bag rather than the souls. You get what I'm saying? And I think Jesus is saying, like, pray more for people that, are willing to, what we were talking about, ministry, serve, than those who are benefiting from the serving. And I think that, in order to be able to do both, like you said, the higher we go up, we got to stay closer to God. But I think this is a challenge, though, because it seems like the more you go up, the more the world praises you, right? And I think that's the reason why, because the more the world praises you, you feel like you don't need God. You know what I'm saying? It feels like that you don't, like, oh, I can do this. Like, I can sing, I can rap, I can act, I can, why do I need God? Why do I need his anointing? I was listening to, what's his name? Pastor, what's his name, man? John Gray. And he talked about how the anointing can't be faked. It's something that God, of course, he anoints, you for assignment, for a task. You know what I'm saying? David was anointed in this area to be a king. And, Jesus talked about the Spirit of the Lord falling upon him, to preach the good news to the gospel. And preach the good news to the poor. So when I think about being able to do both, I really want to pull from what you said, Pastor Roman D, and also from what you said, Will. You know what I'm saying? I think that we have to pray for those who are in those positions, because, you can see it easily, like, certain people being drawn to the bag. They like, they just doing this just for the bag. Or are they doing this to position themselves to make, to minister? You know what I'm saying? Are they casting a net? You know what I'm saying? So I think that, like, what I'm saying, though, like, honestly, truth be told, I have to agree with you, Pastor Roman D, with what you said. If, in order to do both, to answer your question, Will, in order to do both, we have to first be called to it, but then at the same time, you got to stay close to God, because you can get distracted easy, you know what I'm saying, in the industry. And that's just not industry. I mean, if you can get distracted easy in your personal life, right, how much more the industry, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, I mean, that's my thoughts on it.
Yeah, for sure, man. That's good, Zaya Beats. As you was talking, I was thinking about Uncle Reese. Shout out to our homie Uncle Reese.
Yeah, brother.
Hey, man. Listen, man, we don't have so many different conversations, and I think about, and you guys can look this up. Creflo, he did an interview with Creflo some years ago.
Oh, Reese did? Reese did?
Yeah.
Oh, dang.
About 3 to 4 years, probably about 4 years ago, I'm gonna say, and maybe 5. I can't remember.
Oh,
when.
I remember. I seen it.
But he did an interview with Creflo on Creflo TV show at the time, and I was talking to Uncle Reese about that, and he said the same thing he said on the show. So it's public information. You can go check it out. But he said that he got caught up for a minute on money. Mm-hmm. So he had to back up, and he stopped doing music. He said he didn't know if he was going to ever do music again And me and Roman D at the time, we was like, man, when he coming out with an album? Where worship mode at? They was supposed to been doing this big worship mode project, and Uncle Reese went ghost. You know, so during the time, he got caught up for a quick second, and he was telling me how you got all these people in your ear trying to make you be and become something you're not.
Say that, bro.
And so he said, when you're in the music industry, it's not for the nice people. He said it's not for. He said your boy Isaiah too nice. He's too nice for this world.
Listen, I ain't been with the
Yeah,
Sharks
that
yet.
piece is too
I ain't
nice.
been with the Sharks. They got me with Nemo and them, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I gotta.
He said he too nice.
They got me with
But-
Nemo, bro.
but it was funny. But he said, bro, you when you out in this music industry, man, they'll eat you up and swallow you up.
Yeah.
So you got to be well grounded, and like Pastor Roman D said, you need people. You gotta back yourself up and go to God in prayer and have people around you, or the industry will eat you up.
Wow.
So he said
Wow.
once he got out of that lane of thinking about money, he got out of the industry, and now he does ministry. The money doesn't matter. And the money still comes.
Yeah, that's big. That's big.
You know what I'm saying? So I think this industry, man, industry versus ministry is big, because when you start looking at the Kanye Wests and when he does the Dondas, when you start looking at the Chance the Rappers, these guys that say they're saved and they're Christians, are their albums representing the ministry, or is it representing the industry?
That's big. That's big, bro.
So if we can determine that, the next question is, so are they really guiding and leading people to Christ?
That's the
Because if
ministry
their
part.
albums is representing industry, that means they're going to cuss. That means they're going to have secular artists on there.
Yeah.
That means they're going to be doing all these other things that has nothing to do with ministry.
That's good, bro.
Now, not to say that you can't be a Christian and curse, because we know some people still being delivered of the cursing tongue.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, when you start looking at the projects,
Yeah.
where can you line the projects up with? Can you line it up with the industry, and can you line it up with the ministry? Well, we know out the gate, based on what D Hattie said, if you ain't preaching and teaching the gospel, it ain't ministry.
That's
So
big,
I
bro.
think that's a lot right there. Saying the name of Jesus is not necessarily teaching the gospel or the good news of Jesus.
That is so true. Man, can I give him something right there, Pastor
You know what I'm
Roman D?
saying? Saying Jesus, what does that mean to people? A lot of people, some people say Jesus Christ. They get mad. Oh, Jesus Christ. They get scared. What does it mean? So
That's big.
yeah.
You know, as you was talking, bro, it made me think. It's like you could do both without being called, and this the only way you can do it is. That's when you got to have the right people around.
Yes.
Oh.
You know, one of the things I've learned, you know, we just finished celebrating our first year. One thing I had to learn, and I'm still learning, is the difference between like board members and ministry leaders. You have two different kinds, and one thing I told my wife, I said I have to do a better job of making sure I have those right conversations with the right people, because sometimes what can happen is you can have a board and they're talented and they're wonderful, but their job is the business of the ministry.
Come on, bro.
Their job is not, hey, who do you think we should put over this particular ministry? That's not their responsibility. That's not what the role that they accepted. And sometimes I have blurred the lines, learning how to be a pastor and making sure I maneuver and move. And I've blurred the lines, and by giving them things in ministry when I should be talking to them about the business of ministry. Now, that doesn't mean that I may take one or two of them outside of the board meeting and talk about ministry, but during the board meeting, it needs to be about the business of the church. It needs to be about the finances, making sure we're following our bylaws, making sure we're doing things of that nature. And then when we get outside of that meeting, we can talk about ministry.
Yeah.
We can talk about Wendell Phillips. We can talk about buying water to send down to Louisiana. We could talk about those things. But
That's
you have
big,
to have
bro.
the right people to help you stay focused. And it brought back the leadership of the role of the deacon.
Yeah.
The reason why the deacon was created was because they saw a lack in the business part. People wasn't being taken care of like they were supposed to.
Preach.
And they said, hold on. It isn't the apostles' job to make sure people get fed. It ain't the apostles' job is to be in the word and teach us the word. So let's make the deacons so that way they can take that off the plate of the apostles and literally be able to do it. But watch this. They had to make sure everybody was in the right place. So that way the church could function not only with ministry, but business, and be able to impact on both levels and on both areas. And so I think it's important that we have the right people in place to help the leader be able to function and to move in what God has called them to do.
That's big.
good, bro.
That's rich. That's rich. Listen, when we come back, I want to start back up talking about having the right people in place, you know, and the distinction between, like you said, Pastor Ramadi, the business side of the ministry, and then you got, you know what I'm saying, the ministry side of the ministry. And it's gonna make sense as we come back, man. Let's jump into these commercials.
Yeah.
What's up, good people? Will Parker Jr. here. Listen, people ask me all the time, what is faith changes everything? Well, faith literally changed everything for me. It literally saved my life. There was a time when the doctor said, it's over for you. Cancer will beat you. But faith said something else. So go to my website, grab my book, FV1, The Foundations of Faith, and I guarantee it will change everything for you. Peace.
Oh my goodness, it was dark back there. Hey there, this is Pastor Roman D of Alive Church, and I want to invite you to our special worship service this Sunday, 10 a.m. You can join us for our virtual experience where you can connect with us on YouTube, The Alive Church KC, or Facebook, Alive Church. Be there Sunday, 10 a.m. Will you join us?
We going in.
Every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Central Time for the whole month of October.
Beast mode.
Go to the YouTube channel, hit the subscribe key and the notification bell, because you don't want to miss this message, man. I'm telling you, it's going to bless your life.
Beast mode.
Listen, y'all, we back in the building, man. And man, listen, I'm excited, man. This conversation has been so rich, man. Before we left for break, man, Pastor Roman D was dropping some straight jewels, some nuggets, some really, really good stuff, man, that we can't glaze over, man. He was talking about the, you know, having people in place around you and for a certain task and a certain assignment. And I totally agree with you, Pastor Roman D. I think that that's some of the things that I have struggled with as well. Being able to see, okay, this person is called to the business of it, and then this person is called to the ministry of it. So I think that our question, of course, Will, you brought up, could a person do both? I think yes, but you have to be able to make the distinction between what is what. If you can make a distinction and you're called to it and God, you know, graces you for it, I honestly believe that you'll be able to do it, but you just have to be able to know what is what and who is in place, and you know, utilize them in their position, you know what I'm saying? And don't let the business side of it become the one who influences you in the ministry, and vice versa, you know what I'm saying? So I think that that's something that will be really, really beneficial. So as we're talking about this industry, you know, versus, you know, ministry, right? Can one do both? Yeah, but you have to draw that line, like Pastor Roman D said. That was so rich, bro. That was so rich, because that it needs to be said. It's like it's felt, but it's not never really spoken. and you just took it straight from my spirit. And so I wanted to talk about that. But that's so key. Business, have those people in place, but those who minister, have those in place. So, like, for example, I would feel comfortable talking to my brothers about a sermon I'm getting ready to minister, you know, because we're in ministry together. But as we're dealing with business, you know, we'll be like, bro, I think you should go to this company and talk to them about it, because that's the business side. So he's leading in the right way. So that's how you can draw that distinction and be able to be like, okay, yes, this is, I'm able to do both. You know what I'm saying? Will, bro, what you think about that, bro?
No, bro, I agree, man. Give yourself some.
Oh, yeah, man. Hey, man, I can't hold it out,
Hey,
man.
you
You're right.
shorten me and you.
Hey,
Roman
man.
D always gets it. But me and you get shorted, man.
Hey.
You gotta hit that button for us, man.
Game up. Get your game up.
I know Roman D is a powerful man of God,
Hey, you know what I'm saying?
but that spirit lives in us too.
Hey, that's big, bro. You right, bro. You right. Hey, man, I'm gonna have to get on my clutches over here a little bit tighter, man. You know what I'm saying?
No, but Debbie, so you right, man.
Oh,
I want to use this personal example since you kind of started off with this. You talked about your t-shirt business and how that guy he reached out to you because you had some things that you need to get in order.
Yeah.
I think the mistake that people make all the time, because you made it as well, is you could have sat down with me and Roman D, said, bro, here's my t-shirt business. Me and you had some conversations about it.
Yeah.
But sit down, say, bro, I'm about to push this. Check all this out before I push it out. Before I hit live, check it out, go through it, man. See if y'all can find flaws. See,
That's big, bro.
That's keeping people around you.
Yeah, that's
that
big.
understand not only business, because Pastor Roman D has his own business. I have my own business. You have your own business. We're businessmen. All right, and we all understand ministry.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I think what people got to do is sit down with people and say, hey, look at this before I push it out.
That's
Again,
good.
shout out to my boy Uncle Reese. I was talking to him, and he said before he push out an album, he got 8-9 people on one song listening to it, giving them feedback
That's good.
before he push it out. Same way Pastor Roman D, he does it. He does it way more than me.
He always say,
But
check
man,
this
he's
out.
good to push stuff out to say, bro, look at this. Look at this, y'all, before I send it
Hey,
out.
he'll email it to you on the
He'll
screen.
email it, he'll text you. He's real because he values the people around
That's
him.
big.
And then he wants to see beyond his perspective. And when you have a business, you got to look beyond your perspective. Now,
That's
there's going to be
good,
some
bro.
things you just want done.
That's good.
Okay? There's going to be some things. Just Jesus hey, you're not changing just Jesus for nobody. That's
Yeah,
your
no.
saying.
Yeah.
Faith changes everything is my saying.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? A live church is Roman D name of his church. Some things we're not going to move off. But how we market it,
That's
market
big.
these things, and how we choose to use them, we need other people around us. I think I
That's
can't
good.
remember the statistics, man. It's been so long since I've been to class, but they said about it's 30 or 50,000. We'll just say in between 30 and 50,000 people read a t-shirt daily.
Wow.
So yo, just Jesus, when somebody have it on, you talking about, man, at least in the lifetime of that t-shirt, it's gonna be read at least 30,000 times.
That's big, bro. I didn't
That's
think about that.
ministry.
Yeah. Wow.
People are saying just Jesus. That's ministry. That ain't got nothing to do with the business side of it.
You right,
Right.
bro. You right.
You know what I'm
You're
saying?
right.
But you got to have the proper people around you to help you get the business right.
That's big.
Because the truth of the matter is this. Since we are in ministry, all of our businesses should operate in excellence.
Yep.
Bro, can I give him something right there?
Oh,
Can
yeah,
I give him something right there? Go ahead, Will. Don't let me stop you, bro.
That's
but
it.
I just,
That's
okay,
it. I dropped the mic.
Hey,
I just had to throw some hand claps on that, though.
since we're talking about business, let me give a quick promotion. This shirt right here, Ask, Believe, Receive, GizzleKC.com, baby. Go support my brother, Will Parker.
Yeah.
Hey, fake changes at Jizzle.
Hey,
Jizzle.
come on.
Go
Most
ahead and
definitely.
shirts right now.
JISLKC.com stand for Jesus is Lord. I don't never push Jesus is Lord as much, man.
Slacking. But I got
Company, but I've been so big on the faith changes everything, man. Sometimes I forget I got that other company over here.
Hey, you know what I'm saying?
It's a well-oiled machine.
Man, Will got way more than one business, or he got like 60 businesses. Don't let Will fool y'all, man. Will grinds hard, man. That boy is a grinder.
Hey, Renaissance man, what you need, he can do.
Hey.
He can. Need a commercial? Got it.
He got it.
Need a good house? Got it.
He got it.
Need a lesson? Got it.
His phone never stops ringing, man.
Hey, because here's the thing, and we're talking about making sure the people you're connected to, how they can help you see things that you don't see. This is so vital, even in when you're talking about doing industry versus ministry. When you have people around you that are capable, that have your best interests at heart, that love you, then it's easier to trust the advice that they give. Now, sometimes you may not, it may be tough to swallow, but because you know they're coming from a place of love, you're like, okay, let me look at okay, this is how I can switch it up. This is how I can take their advice and put it with the vision that I had, and make something beautiful. But if you're not willing to trust those around you, you're going to find yourself frustrated. You're going to find yourself stuck, because how God has things set up, we have not been created to move by ourselves.
That's right.
Think about this. Think about it. Adam was perfect, no sin, no flaws, no nothing. And yet God said it isn't good for him to be alone. So how much more you and I, who have this sin nature, born with this sin nature, how much more do we need relationship? Do we need that partnership? Do we need that connection? Because in partnership, that's how we get promoted. That's how we go to new levels. So it's important that we understand that you don't have to be able to do everything. Here's the question. As a leader, can you manage everything? Because just because you don't have to do everything, you can have this person who's great on the business side, this person who's great on the ministry side. But if you can share your vision, hey, this direction that we're going, and they can take your vision and bring the details to it, then you can do something supernatural.
Oh my God. Listen, do y'all got your iPhone? Listen, I need you to take your iPhone out and hit notes. Okay? When you hit notes, I need you to rewind this and write down what he just said, because I'm writing that down. Listen, he said you got to have people around you. Hey. Oh, he said Samsung. Nah, man, y'all get out of here, man. Nah. Hey, y'all have to change. Listen. This is big, because you know what? You said something that I have to write down, man, because that was so rich, bro. You talked about how you might not be excellent in business, but you're excellent in ministry. And that's why it's not good to be alone, because when you get those two together in the room, and what I love what you said, Pastor Roman D, this is so big. Let me go big screen. Bro, you said that they have to be humble enough to hear one another. You know, and when we're talking about industry versus ministry, this is so big. I think that instead we should have called it industry working with ministry, or Will, I'll take yours. Ministry working with what? Industry? Because when you get both of these together, see, Jesus understood this clearly, which is why he called Matthew. He's like, I need somebody to be able that's good with money. You know what I'm saying? And this is so big. In ministry, one of the things I think that I lacked on a whole lot was the simple fact of knowing that I'm gifted in a certain area when it comes to ministry, but I lack business skills. I'm not good with the dollar. You know what I'm saying? I'm not good with the dollar at all. You know, I don't know how to multiply the dollar, you know, but you give me a scripture, I can multiply it, you know, just because the grace that God has given me. So Pastor Roman, you brought something up that's big, and I really want, you know, us all to kind of like that's watching to really just meditate and write some notes on that, because, you know, are you really, you know, pulling from the business side of the people that are in your life to grow? because your business should be it should be banging right now, right? With your ministry. Because I think like my heart is sold out for Christ. Like, you know how it is sometimes, fellas, like even in ministry, you don't even want to graze against that line because you like, I'm sold out with Christ. But I think that it's necessary to work together. I think the two can coexist. I think ministry can exist in the industry if you're called to it. And like Pastor Roman D said, you have those people in place that are meant to be there, that are helping the ministry, but at the same time working the business side in a way that's with excellence. So that's what I think, man. I think that's so big. Pastor Roman D, I got my notes. I'm writing that down, and I'm taking that. I'm taking that. I'm taking that. You know what I'm saying? Hey, that's big, bro.
Hey.
Sure, get your notepads.
And I would say this, Tuesday, it depends on what we're talking about too. Because again, Dietrich Hatton is talking about the music industry, and can you do both? And you probably can, but can you do it on a level, in a platform to be as big as you want to be?
Yeah.
Because you got to think there's a lot of secular artists that's ginormous.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we don't have no ginormous necessarily Christian, especially if we get into our
Kanye.
He ain't ginormous.
Donda.
He ain't even ginormous. He's ginormous from the secular side.
He all Christian chart. Kanye.
Man.
Hey, he's still. But his reputation is still more from the secular world.
Yeah.
That's why he's big.
Yeah.
He's big because the secular world is still backing him.
Yeah.
Let them drop off and let's see where he be.
Yeah, you're right, bro. You're right.
Let the secular world drop off and let's see how many Christian is really back. Because the truth of the matter is, a lot of our people don't back the Christian. They don't really back the Christian artists as much as you think they would.
Speak the truth, Will. That's real.
Especially the black folk.
That's real, man. That's real.
You know, I don't want to get in the race, but
that is
the truth
real.
of the matter is, it is real, and a lot of our black artists they're not backed like a lot of our Christian, our white Christian, our Caucasian folks.
They got a whole station where they only play a certain style of music. You know what I'm saying?
Bro, that's what I'm saying, bro. Ask any gospel rapper that's on top. Ask any of them. Ask them who backs them.
Wow.
Ask them and you can go look up interviews right now. They will tell you our Caucasian brothers and sisters backed them more than the black church.
And that's real.
They do. I mean, so and I ain't knocking them because I believe we're one body.
Yeah.
And we should all support one another because it's not about color, it's not about race. It's about believing in our one true God.
Yeah, bro.
You know what I'm saying? But unfortunately, we don't back our people like we supposed to, in really nothing.
Yeah, that's true, bro. That's true, man.
I mean, we just don't do it. Yeah. So I think still we need to determine what in what when we talk about ministry versus industry.
Yeah.
What is the difference between the church? What is the difference between the music industry? You know what I'm saying? Because the truth of the matter is, Pastor Roman D has a church, right? He's the co-founder of his church. His job is not necessarily to grow the church. His job is to preach and teach the word, to plant and water.
That's so
God
big. That's
supposed to grow the church. God is supposed to give the increase.
Can I give you
His
one
job
more?
ain't focused on growth. His job is to give them that word, and whoever's listening, teach them, help them learn about the principles of the word, Jesus Christ. His job is to plant and sometimes to water, but God's job is to increase.
And then because here's the thing too, bro. We always talk about this. We have to be willing to do our part
Yes.
and allow God to do his part.
Say that, bro.
Because I think what happens sometimes, even in gospel industry, I think in all industries, we overstep our boundaries. God gives us an assignment, God gives us a task, and we start off doing it, but then we start looking at somebody else.
You're right, bro.
We start looking at how they progress. We start looking at where they are, and we try to veer off, and we get too focused on them, and we veer off to try to do what they are called to do instead of just doing what we're called to do. And when you find your lane, when you find what God has called you to do, God will begin to accelerate you. God will begin to bless you. God will begin to open up doors that you will be mind blown that you're open. God will start to send people your way to help you get to the levels that he called you to be.
Man.
But it's difficult for God to do that when you got your hand in his jar. And he trying to, he's like, get out of my, let me do what I do. You know, we say this all the time. Grace.
It's silly, bro.
Grace is made of what is made available to you. Faith is what takes it.
Yeah.
Grace, God part, to make the promotion available, to make the healing available, to make the deliverance, and God has done his part. But now our part is to walk in faith and grab a hold to what he's made available to us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes we can only grab a hold when we get the right people, when we get in the right position, when we heading in the right direction. You can't be going down the wrong street expecting to get to the right destination. And so having those people surround us, understanding what's our part and what's God's part, then that way we can be able to flow, and God will connect us to the right people at the right time so that we can do what he's called for us to do.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
good, bro.
Man,
Listen,
that's good, bro.
that's
Good.
rich.
Zaya Beats, you need to rename this
Hey.
to Get Your Hand Out of God's
Out of God's jar. Hey, you know what I'm saying? Hey, he's silly, bro. Hey, listen. You know what, bro? When you did it, I looked over there. I was like, yo, that was right on time, boy. Hey, that jar was meant to be there, man.
It was,
See
hey,
that?
it's
But-
my wife's. I don't know what it's doing there.
But you see that jar was walking in purpose. And when that jar is walking in purpose, right when it's time for it to get used, you see what happened. It just shows up like that. Hey, you know what I'm saying? What's up,
We
bro?
talking about partnership. Watch this. He didn't even put the jar there. His wife.
Come on.
Playing a
Hey,
role. He
but
looking for stuff.
hey, we
You lucky I ain't got my hat. I'll throw it at you.
hey, he's silly.
Yeah.
Yo,
Somebody move.
but Pastor Romedy, to your point though, if we are in position like that, you know what I'm saying? That's what happens. You know what I'm saying? That, and then to your point, Will, like if you in position, you know what I'm saying? What happens is automatically, you know what I'm saying? It happens. God can take that and then run, like, you know, you'll be in position. But I want to say this. I want to talk as we conclude about can you do both? And I actually was just thinking about this during our whole segment here, man. And I would most definitely say no. And the reason I say that is because based on what Pastor Roman D said, and he kind of like helped me to, you know, kind of find clarity in this. It's so necessary for you to know that you can't do this alone. You know what I'm saying? You were built and made to be in relationship. It's relationship in ministry, relationship in business. Now, here's the thing. You have to make sure you're finding the right people. Just like Brother Will demonstrated for us. That jar was in position. You know, it wasn't there just, you know, it's like that jar was like, it was in position. It was there, right? And I think that's the key. I will most definitely say to those that are actually business and want to rock business, keep being in position. Those who are in ministry, keep being in position, because the time's gonna come when, just like Brother Will demonstrated, somebody's gonna speak, and then that bam, you see, just like that, it can happen. So I would say I'm gonna pass it off, and but to end on this, I'm gonna say no. I think that we have to have partnership in order to see great things. Nike, come on, somebody, didn't make it there. I was thinking about this the other night. I said Nike did not make it there on one man's back. They didn't do it. Like, even if you call in and say, hey man, my shirt's messed up, they got somebody working in there saying, hey, I'm sorry, we're gonna get this shirt back off to you. Bam, here's another one. It's a partnership. And I think that that's what makes anything successful. Jesus chose the disciples. So, hey, that's what I think, man. I'll say no.
Okay,
I'll say no.
Hey, that's fair, my brother.
Okay,
that's fair. To answer the question, I will say yes.
Ooh, okay.
I would say yes because I'm looking at TD Jakes do it. I'm looked at R.A. Vernon do it. I think we have enough examples around us, Bishop Hilliard. I think we have enough men of God, and these are just men of God around us that's doing both. You seen Jakes? He's still walking in his calling of being a man of God, but he's doing movies. He's did movies, he's produced album, and he is not budged on his integrity with the word. R.A. Vernon did the same thing with his book. His book paid off all his bills, but he runs an excellent ministry. But his business mind, he was savvy. So I think you can do both. I think, again, to do both, you got to have the right people around you, but I think you got to maintain a ministry focus.
Okay.
Yeah. And I would agree with you.
Give me some claps, man.
I did, but that's what I meant to say. I meant to say what Will said. Okay, just to let y'all know that.
Hey, as we close, I would say you could do both, and this is why, because it depends on how you look at it about it getting done. If you put the people in place, you did do it. if you because so many people like you have to do it personally. No, you don't have to do it personally. If you pick this person, if you pick this leader and they do a great job, you get credit because you picked them. You put them in position. So you may not have licked the stamp and sent off the letter personally, but because you put them in position and they wrote the letter, they sent off the letter, and it got to the person, they're going to see your name written at the bottom of the letter, so they feel like you sent it. You may not have personally did it, but you put the people in the right position, and that's what leaders do. Leaders don't necessarily do it, but they put the people in the right position, give them the right authority, give them the right tools that they can be able to be successful at their level. And so we're just so grateful for joining us today. Watch us again next week, baby.
Yeah. Dude. Spoken like a true businessman.
Bamba.
Hey. That was big, man. That was rich, man. I like that. What's going on, good people? It's your boy Isaiah here, and we are in the month of October. This year has been flying. It's amazing how fast time is going. But listen, as you guys know, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And listen, I'm believing God for $1,000 to donate to a breast cancer campaign. So what we've done is on our Just Jesus Clothing website, we have released a new line of t-shirts. So if you go to justjesusclothing.com, you'll see at the top there that you can purchase a Just Jesus t-shirt that is for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Listen, with the money that you spend on a t-shirt, we are going to send it to a campaign for breast cancer awareness. Listen, I want to encourage you guys to buy not just one shirt, but 2 shirts, 3 shirts. Bless someone with one of these t-shirts. So as we represent for the month of October, we are raising awareness. But not only are we doing that, but we're also lifting the name of Jesus Christ, letting people know that Jesus is the answer. So would you do me a favor? Go to justjesusclothing.com, pick you up a Just Jesus t-shirt. You're going to be blessing this campaign.